Hey everyone, since this is now a video podcast, check us out on YouTube if you haven't yet. We are trying out a few different editing styles over the next few episodes, and we'd love to know what you think. Okay, and now for our quote. From Somewhere Beyond the Sea by T.J. Klune. I'm an adult who does adult things, like taxes and laundry, and being sad for no reason.
Welcome, Ruffians, to another episode of the Reading Room Ruffians, your favorite library podcast. It's time to dive into a new book, Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. This is Mallory, enthused to be finished with this book. My BFF Ariel is with me, and she has some words for yet another Zach pick.
Why? Why do you pick books like this?
Our Supreme Overlord Carla is shaking her head at this one, too.
Wasn't my favorite.
We are recording from our library in Jackson County, West Virginia. Zach, Lord of the Flops, is joining us from Seattle, Washington.
You'll like one of them, I'm sure.
I was not prepared for that.
I was quite proud of that one myself. I was like, oh, dang, it's another classic.
That's so good.
Okay,
gosh.
so Ripley will be starting their annual 12 Crafts of Christmas programming this week. So for the next 6 Mondays at 5 p.m., we will be hosting a craft night of 2 crafts each night. Yeah. Be sure to get signed up so we can ensure enough supplies are handy. Ravenswood's Teen Tuesday will be making personalized wreaths at 5 p.m. And then on the 21st, which is Thursday, we at Ripley will be hosting charcuterie with the cuties at 6 p.m. So,
Ma'am, it's charcuteries with the cuties.
really?
Yes, it's not charcuteries.
Why?
Because it sounds better. Charcuteries with the cuties.
I guess. All right. Anyway.
I like it. It's better. It's funny.
So be sure to join us for what is sure to be a delicious treat.
It's my program. Can anybody tell?
I mean, that's fine. I have been saying it all the ways, so I don't know what it is anymore. Toddler Storytime in Ravenswood is still continuing on Fridays, and those start at 11 a.m. And then Mommy and Me is still happening as well, and those are every Friday in Ravenswood at 12 p.m. So, and that's for moms with babies up to 1 year old. All right, let's get started.
Jack,
Okay. So, Slaughterhouse 5. I was actually interested to know that you didn't get the name until the very end, which is kind of funny. But anyway, so Slaughterhouse 5 is about basically Kurt Vonnegut was in World War II back in the day, and he was trying to figure out how to write a book. This is in the book, by the way. He was trying to find a way to write a book about Dresden, the bombing of Dresden, which he was in when it was bombed. And he decided to write a book about a guy named Billy Pilgrim, who was also there. He's a tall, gangly guy who probably shouldn't have been in the war in the first place. And the idea is that at some point after the war, he was abducted by aliens and got himself unstuck from time, which means that he can like hop around in time. And you just get to live all of his life from when he was like younger, before the war or during the war, up until he became an optometrist, and then eventually he dies. So, and his time when he was abducted by aliens, and it's told out of order, and it's a fun little book. I enjoyed it a lot. I don't know why you guys didn't like it.
I can tell you why I didn't.
Actually,
like
I have an idea of why you guys didn't like it, but
I can tell you.
you know,
I didn't totally hate it. I just was really not. I don't know.
I enjoyed listening to Billy's life because he's a weird little duck.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. But I do not see that this book is anything like what they say that this book is. I don't understand why it's a classic.
what do you mean?
I do not feel like it's super anti-war. I feel like he took this poor man's life and made a joke out of it. And then at the end of it, when he's having an interview with someone, he is a jerk. for, words that I can't say on this podcast. I don't like him.
How was he a jerk at the end? So at the end of this book, there was an interview with the author, and in the version that we listened to or read.
Mm-hmm. I just think he was.
So,
he was making fun of it, and he's like, I don't know. He just came across as a complete and total douchebag. You're just gonna have to bleep me.
I think it was the nuances of his tone of voice and the way he talked about things. It did make him seem like a complete unpleasant person.
Rotted turnip.
Yeah, there we go. Spoiled ham sandwich.
I did not get that vibe at all. I felt like that was more like he was I guess sort of so the whole book is there because he was trying to deal with the fact that he's got like pretty bad survivor's guilt and stuff, right? And he's not happy about the war, and he thinks it was just like a waste of time. He was the only person who profited from it, which is bad. The whole thing is that he's being sarcastic about how awful the war was because he can't cope with it very well.
I don't understand.
I think
through
that's
this
the
whole
point.
book, I thought that he was Billy. And then to find out that Billy was like this poor man who just couldn't cope and died. And he's just like taking he's like, yeah, he was a dirty flamingo, but I was going to use him in my book and make him sound so much cooler and make it seem like I'm this guy. No, I don't like it. I hate it, in fact. And
Okay. Let's
smack him.
remove anything that he has said from your discussion of the book. And what about the book?
I don't see
Like,
how it
ignore
was.
that
I
part.
do not
You
see
have
how
to
it was
ignore that part.
anti-war.
I saw it as being anti-war.
I don't see it as anti-war.
I did because
I did.
of the trauma the war.
I don't think it's like pro-war. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's anything like that. But I don't see it as this super, like, okay, when you read the description of it, it says one of the most profound anti-war books out there. And it doesn't seem like that to me.
Okay.
He spends the entire time telling about Billy and how Billy's going through all his life and all the things he's got to deal with. Yes, I get that. He has PTSD. He has issues.
Yeah.
So do a lot of people.
But you know something? This was one of the first ones that dealt with that. It's like you are seeing it from a perspective of all the things that have come out since. At the time, this was probably very anti-war because it gave a look at how it affects the mental capacities of the people that were there.
But it just didn't seem like it. And then, like, through the whole book, it's like leading up to the bombing of Dresden and why it happened. And I still don't understand why it happened. Like, he never really went into that. And it just gets bombed and then it's done.
I think that's kind of the point. He can't talk about it because it was awful.
But then don't lead up to it in the book about why it happened. You talk about it so many times, like how it was wrong and how, a lot of people would be angry if they found out the real reason. What was the real reason?
I think it was an experiment to see if it would work.
But it was, that's your assumption. There's no actual definitive answer. And that's what I don't like about it.
Who's going to admit it's like, we just bombed an entire city just to see what would happen, how it would affect the war. We killed all these innocent people just to see what would happen. No one's going to admit to that. They're not.
I don't know. I feel like nowadays they would. They'd be like, yeah, that was our bad. We shouldn't have done that. Because they're not directly related to it. Because so much time has passed. Different people are in office and yada, yada, yada.
When it was, at the time this was written, was it still also classified, though?
Probably.
So that's probably also another reason why. I don't really know how.
They classify everything for things forever.
Yeah.
There's some things that we'll probably never know.
Anyways, that's my thoughts on it. I don't think it was anti-war, and I think it was dumb. And I think he made...
I definitely think it was anti-war. He was not happy about the war,
I think he made a joke
book.
out of this poor Billy guy's life.
Yeah, I don't feel like he made it...
I don't inherently disagree with that, but I don't totally
agree.
Did. Like, I do think...
Okay, were you not... Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I did see a lot of, like... I don't know. No, go ahead.
Okay, I was gonna say that. Oh man, you just like made me lose my train of thought.
I'm so sorry because I didn't.
So okay. Let's take it as just as a work of fiction.
As a work of
I don't
fiction,
think it
I
made him-
enjoyed it.
Like, made fun of him because he was. I mean, like, for example, all the alien stuff. Did you feel that was real, or that was all just made up, or
I
whatever?
thought,
Did
like,
you feel
okay,
like
okay,
in the
when-
context of the book, not
when-
like in
okay.
real life?
Well,
Because obviously that's not real.
listen.
Let him finish the question before you answer.
He wasn't finishing the question.
Yes, he
was
was.
rambling.
He was.
No, he wasn't.
You're way too volatile today for this one.
Oh, well,
You need to
I
get
have
chillax,
thoughts.
girl. Chillax.
I have thoughts. You wanted me to read this book. You wanted me to tell you why I didn't like it. Now you're going to listen. So, when I thought that the author was Billy, one of my legit questions was, does he really believe he was abducted by aliens? Because it felt like he legitimately believed he was abducted by aliens. And he went through all this.
Okay. But then after you found out it's not him, it's somebody he was.
I think that's how he made fun
Working
of
with.
him.
You think that the alien stuff made fun of him?
Yes, because he said that this man died by staring like the 1,000-yard stare. Right? That's
Yes.
all the information we get about him. Obviously, he was not coping with the war. He was not doing well, and he essentially gave up. Now, did
Okay.
the real Billy ever say that he was abducted by aliens? Probably not.
Well,
so
no,
he probably
because this
made
is a
this
work of
up.
fiction.
Right? So, like, he could have, like, made him seem like he was just seriously dealing with this trauma in other ways instead of making him seem like an absolute crazy person that thinks he was abducted by aliens.
I like the aliens.
No, see, I
that
think,
was
I
my
think
favorite
he
part.
was abducted by aliens in the context of the book. 100%.
I do too.
Well, okay, I get that. But, like, I just feel like he's taken something and just made it into a joke.
I feel like you're ascribing a lot of intent here that was not there.
Well, you wanted me to tell you how I felt about it.
Like, I mean, I feel like you should just divorce yourself from this idea of him being a person at all that was real.
I can't,
Get rid of
though.
it.
I can't. I was fine with it until
He
I
basically
found
just
out.
used his name. He didn't use his life.
But he
But he
did. He
didn't
never
use his
says
name.
at the beginning that this person was a real person. That I was just using his likeness. You don't even find out until you hear that interview at the end.
From what I can tell, the only real thing that was like some of the war stuff was real. He says that in the book. Some of the war stuff was real,
And he did say that he changed names of some of the people.
and he changed the name of like Billy. It was somebody else. I can't remember what the guy's
Yeah, I
name
I thought
is.
there were a
It
couple
was-
of people.
He
was-
said it a few times, and he was trying to like
Edgar,
saying he
somebody
went to his
wasn't it?
grave and stuff. But okay, let's talk about the book and not Kurt Vonnegut, please. For a little
I told
bit.
you about the book.
Oh my god.
Well, what? Maybe let other people talk.
Okay, so aside from Kurt Vonnegut's stuff, which Ariel is very against, what do we think of the actual book? The way it was written, the prose, the so it goes.
Oh
All
my
this
god, I
stuff.
hated that. So it goes.
That killed me. That absolutely killed me.
The so it goes?
Yes.
I've heard that from a lot of people online too. They didn't like the so it goes
You
thing.
know,
I
like,
thought it was like
Maybe a handful of them would have been fine, but it's
kind
like
of funny.
I just
Happens 106 times apparently.
Yeah,
That's too
like
many.
5 or 6 would have been nice
Sufficient.
little pocket of like kind of comedic effect, but it was everywhere, and I think
No,
that really just
It was only
diminished
when
it.
somebody died.
I think it was exactly.
Or
it was to
something bad
remind you somebody
happened.
had died.
Yeah.
It was
Usually somebody
because
died.
death was ever present in the book.
Mhm.
Which like is fair, but also I don't want to hear it. That
No, I
many
mean he did it
times.
for a point. Like I mean, obviously it was. You guys found it annoying.
Yeah.
It's to make sure that you're not forgetting people are dying.
Well, no,
Every
I
single
don't
time that
think
happens.
I ever forgot that anybody died in this book.
I think there would have been more of an impact of people dying, like with the people dying, if he didn't have the so it goes.
Well, he was traumatized.
I don't.
Like that's
okay.
his coping mechanism partially.
Yeah.
I guess.
I thought- I think
Maybe
the whole
I am
point
a
of, like,
horrible person.
This and the alien stuff is so that he could have a different sort of perspective on that. People die, but it's fine because they're alive in some other place. And the fact that he doesn't have to worry about his decisions in this war because it was all like just going to happen anyway. So anybody who died as a result, it's not that big of a deal. There's nothing he could have done because everything's already written in stone, effectively.
I did find that
Right.
part interesting. The whole, if somebody is passed on, they're still alive in other points in time. That
Mhm.
sort of, I liked that. It was, the alien stuff was also interesting in different ways, but I think for me, the whole, yeah, I get your guys' point. Like it really is his way of coping. For me, it felt like one of those things where we've complained before about certain authors saying certain things, like just specific words or sometimes phrases. And it just felt like that for me. And maybe
The So
also
It
just
Goes thing,
because
you
of
mean?
how it was said, like because I listened to it. Because I was listening to it at
Oh, it
like
could be that. Yeah,
1.75
I didn't think
speed.
it was. So I read most of this book. I only listened to the last little bit of it because it had that the interview and stuff in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like when you're just reading it, it's just like kind of there every now and then. So
Yeah.
it goes. You're just like, oh yeah.
And yeah, I really think maybe listening to it at 1.75 speed also added to that for me. Like because it just kind of sounded like thrown in, like, and so it goes. So I
No,
guess,
see,
I
yeah,
guess
that's
that kind
the thing.
of like
When you're
when I
reading
really
it, it
have to
feels
think
like
about
because
it.
there's a period after it
Yeah.
every single time.
Yeah.
And there's a pause. It's like, and so he died.
Yeah.
So it goes.
Yeah.
It's like it feels like, well, that sucks, basically, every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Okay, yeah, so it feels like reading versus listening.
I think I would have
Very different vibe.
would enjoyed it better had I actually read it. Because
Oh, I did. The parts I listened to and the parts I read felt different, and reading it was better.
the guy that read the book, whoever
Probably Ethan Hawke.
is anyway, I was
Yeah,
like,
I think it was Ethan Hawke. Unless you got the other
The
one.
other
with,
one was James Franco.
I
didn't
was
listen to
dying.
James
I was
Franco.
like, oh my, I couldn't handle. He talked so slow, and it was like,
This is the reason why we boost the speed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I listened to it at twice the speed
She did.
Oh my god.
She did. She did.
because he was killing me, and I had to get it done. But it's like I could not. I didn't like the reader very well, and that can mess with the book.
Mhm, it really can. Yeah.
I love the alien part. That was my favorite part. But
Yeah.
it was just, and I didn't mind it jumping around. I felt like at first I thought he is in an insane asylum and he's remembering different things and he's thinking he's really there. But when the alien showed up, it's like, nope, he's just, jumping around in time.
I thought
Yep,
that was
time
crazy.
travel.
Yep. I wondered how
It's
you
sort of
felt
like viewing
about
it how the Tralfmagorians, is that what it is? Tralfmagorians?
yeah.
Anyway, how they viewed time, where it's like all at the same time. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously we can't perceive that, but like,
Yeah, I like the way he described it too. It's like you're riding on a train car and you got this big helmet on and a long pole with a hole that you're looking out of, and that's all you can see of time instead of the entire landscape.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought that was a good way to describe it.
Okay, can we talk about really quick was the guy's name Weary that was with Billy for a while?
Yeah.
Roland Weary, yeah.
Mike, I hated him.
Yeah,
I hated
think
him
you
a
were
lot.
supposed to.
Like, I just ew.
Yeah, he was kind of crappy overall.
And then he like
But you
complained
get people
about
like
him
that all the time.
dying
And
because of Billy, and it's like, no, bro, he told you to leave him. Like, that was your fault.
Yep.
You are in this mess because of you. Like, don't even. You could have just left him. It would have been fine for you.
He wanted to be a hero though. Him and his
Three Musketeers.
yes.
yeah,
as
the
a
Three
companion to
Musketeers.
Musketeers.
The other two
And they
Musketeers
didn't
were like,
even-
nah,
And
They
they
were
left
like-
him. They were like,
I'm out of here.
I ain't dealing with you anymore.
not
And then
that
they
serious,
immediately get
man.
shot. Oof. It was bad.
Yeah, that was like a couple of different layers of karma there. Yeah.
It also makes you aware of like what the consequences of a single decision
Mm-hmm.
can be.
Yeah. I did like so overall, the jumping around part made it a little difficult to follow. I don't think that the book would have been nearly as good if it was told linearly, though. Gotta say. I think the jumping around was sort of necessary. And not even like with, you just have a normal, like, thing and then you have flashbacks to the war. Like, say it was all post-war. and then you just have flashbacks to the war all the time. I liked how it was all like scatterbrained and all over the place. Made it a little difficult to follow sometimes, but for the most part, it wasn't too bad. I did really enjoy that part.
I also kind of feel like that is, it sort of makes sense, especially for like PTSD flashes and stuff, because you don't always go to the same place or the same trigger. And so it kind of felt parallel for that for me. Like some of it was PTSD and some of it was quote unquote time travel. And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Oh man, I had another thought. Now it's gone.
Oh no.
Okay, characters wise, who else did you like in the book? I really like the was it the Englishmen who were in the one
Yeah.
camp
Yeah.
by themselves, and they had like way too much time on their
And they saved all
and
that
too many
stuff.
supplies.
Yeah.
Very
Gosh,
fun characters.
that's wild.
I like their
You guys are not
philosophy
being very
too,
talkative this time.
because of, it's like keep your appearance up, and otherwise you just quit.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a good survival philosophy.
Yeah, I feel like it's easier said than done in some
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
cases. Like they had the easiest time, and I'm not entirely sure that
They understood
I
that.
agree that like keeping yourself up, especially in times of like when you're depressed, for
Mhm.
example, like if you actually have all of the supplies and necessary
Oh,
things
yeah.
you need to keep on going. But yeah, I mean, it felt a little tone deaf from them because they've just been stuck in this very nice place for a
Yeah.
very long
With
time.
lots of
Very nice
supplies.
place.
And
I
they
mean,
were
it's still a camp, but
very well fed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely tone deaf because they saw them get off the train and they were like,
Mhm.
"What did they do to you guys?" And then they were like, "Wow, you guys are just trash."
Yeah.
Oh, do you even know what they had to
Yeah.
go through to get there?
Yeah.
'Cause, bro.
yeah, I mean, overall though, it's a good thing because when
Mhm.
you're depressed or whatever,
Mhm.
It is. Yeah.
it's difficult to maintain that level of self-care that you
Yeah.
need. And that's good advice then, but you have to have the basics, You have
Yeah.
to be able to have, food, shelter, all this stuff.
Clothing.
Not living on a train car where you had to dump out your leavings everywhere out
Not
through the
even
window
just
or the
yours.
vents.
Somebody else's too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
I think that this was a lot like other classics. It's like it's not a feel good book.
Yeah.
It's like it leaves you questioning, and you borderline like it or not. I mean, I think that's the reason I don't read a lot of the classics, because sometimes I get horribly mad. But
Oh
That's
yeah,
how I
no,
am with
totally.
most
Some of them
classics.
are
There's
just like
very
they're
few
annoying
classics that I actually
Mhm.
like.
bad, or you just don't like them. Yeah,
Yeah.
like for example, this one, I wouldn't say I would find it to be an enjoyable book. I mean, there were parts of it that I did find fun, and there's parts of it that I found funny, and parts of it that like sort of hit pretty hard. But for the most part, I wouldn't say, yeah, this is an enjoyable book. I think it's
Yeah.
just sort of
It's a book.
relevant. Yeah, relevant to the fact that this is how it was. I mean, it's not gonna say it's what people go through. They don't generally get abducted by aliens and or in a
well,
zoo,
we don't know
but
anyway.
they're
not talking about it.
at least they're not talking about it, exactly. More war vets. Have you guys been abducted by aliens and put in a zoo for 6 months?
That also. Am I making this up? Because I was listening to some of it last night and I was maybe falling asleep last night a little bit. Was
Oh.
whenever he was put into that zoo, were there giraffes with him? Did somebody say
No,
that?
no,
or
no.
was it something like giraffes? I don't even.
He had a dream.
Yeah.
where
Okay.
there were giraffes,
Okay.
and then he also was sort of a giraffe.
Okay. It's like.
And he tried to eat, what was it, a pear or something? It was very hard. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I must have dozed a smidge there because I was like, I'm so confused about this right now. All right. That makes way more sense.
Ariel, you've been very quiet. I didn't mean to shut you down entirely.
I got told that I was too volatile. So I'm not talking.
She's mad at me.
I'm mad at this book.
You're being a bit intense. But what other thoughts do you have aside from this is the
It's
Kurt Vonnegut's awful?
dumb. I think it's a dumb book.
I think it's a dumb book.
Yep.
Because
I really
because you
don't
think he
feel-
made fun of this.
I really
this
don't
guy.
feel a lot of the things that you all feel about this book. I didn't really find it funny. I didn't feel that it was like impactful. I didn't feel that it had hard moments. I have read so many other books about the Holocaust or wars or whatever, and I'm just like, this is dumb.
I
Yeah.
mean, fair.
Yeah, I agree. I also think it would be very interesting because, I mean, if you think about the time in which this came out, if you looked at a book that's more modern from a soldier's perspective, I bet it would be like way, way different. Like, I mean, because, you know, technology and stuff too, but just how actually open people are talking about this stuff
mean,
now.
I've seen interviews where people were in the war and they grabbed somebody's hand and their skin came off.
Yeah.
Like, that's impactful to me.
Yeah.
Not,
That was Hiroshima,
This.
wasn't it?
yeah.
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 Yeah, I think thinking about it, I don't especially if when we think about how it's talked about even back then when men came home from wars they didn't freak out and yada yada yada. Yeah, they did. It just wasn't talked about. And I
Yeah.
think that
Yep.
is the difference in this book. I'm sure this book at the time was like radical because it was talking about even somebody like struggling there and coming back. But I think that difference, if I am not in the frame of mind to read another one, but if you were to read one like right after this one and look at how different things are talked about, it would be insane the difference.
Like, I even compare this to the Radium Girls. Yeah.
Well,
That's more what
Yeah.
I expected.
yeah, because there's a lot more detail in that. I
Yeah.
think the at least part of the point of this book was the fact that he was trying to show how a lot of the people who were in the bombing Dresden or just in war in general have a lot of difficulty talking about it. You hear this like it's like a trope almost,
yeah.
right? Where you have I mean obviously it's based on reality, but you have all these war vets who come back from war and for like decades and decades they cannot or will not talk about anything in the war at all. They shut down any conversation about it. And I mean, he was talking at the beginning of the book about how it took him, what was it, like almost 25 years or something like that to write
Yeah.
this book.
And he had said he wrote what? Okay. He wrote like what was it? Like 5,000 pages and threw them all away.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't remember
Yeah.
anything and nothing felt like it was worth saying.
That's the PTSD.
Yeah. I think was he saying that as he was saying that as himself because
And
yeah, the first like
I get
chapter.
that.
I
of
wish
this
there
was
had been like a
him.
more clear like this is me talking versus the story because it kind of just blended right into it and
Yeah.
so I had trouble saying like where are we I mean, like just there in the beginning like once we actually got into the story it was fine but I wasn't sure. It was one of those things. I thought it was like a foreword from the author, and I guess it kind of was, but it was never really stated.
Right.
It was sort of a forward, but it was also part of the book.
Yeah.
Which is kind of
Yeah.
weird.
So yeah, since
Like an
there wasn't
explainer
a
for the
clear,
fact that
yeah,
where the book comes from to put into some context, I guess.
yeah, which I
And then he
appreciated
actually,
that.
at the end, right, he had 2 cameos of himself in the book, which was kind of funny.
In the movie.
In the
It's like-
movie. But they cut it.
No, in the book. No, in
oh,
the book.
is
Like
that where he says that was me or that was
That was me. Yeah, he's
Yeah,
like, that
okay.
was
He
me.
says that in the
Like
book.
when somebody was in the bathroom, for example,
Yeah.
one of the latrine, and he's like, that was me. And then also he shows up at the end
Oh.
Yeah.
when they're doing the body recovery or whatever. I can't remember what they called it. The body mining.
Yeah.
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 Oh, okay. I've just now understood what he meant whenever he said that. Cool.
Like he shows up in the actual book.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, body mining because they're digging the bodies out.
Yes.
Yeah. And about how we couldn't really describe what it looked like in Dresden. It was just like the moon. And that's about all he would say about it.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah, because of all the craters and the rubble
Yeah.
and all this stuff. And it's just like
And
a
probably-
white, ashy
Yeah.
thing entirely, so that you couldn't really distinguish anything aside from mounds. I don't know. It's a very, like, sort of, yeah, I thought it was interesting because it was like spacey, but also like disjoint from reality, and it sort of played in with the rest of the book to some degree
Yeah.
because there was all the alien stuff. I don't know if that was like intended or whatever. I saw some people talking about like it was difficult to look at. I'm not sure if that's part of it, but
What was difficult to look at?
like just he describes it as the moon
Oh.
and talks about the sun at the same time because you can't really look directly at the sun, and the moon is like an alien place. It's just like disjoint from like actually the world or whatever.
I think the reason you didn't get any details in the book is because he could not face those memories himself.
Yeah. I mean, that's feel like that's a big chunk of it, you know.
But still, at the very end in that interview, I mean, he was just like an arrogant bravado. It's like I didn't
see. This is the thing. You guys say that, and all those stuff I was saying. I listened to that as well, and a lot of the things is that everywhere else, and I think including that, he was very self-deprecating. Like he's a self-deprecating person in general, not arrogant.
Well, see,
And
I think it
feel
was
like
the tone.
You can be both.
I mean, I guess you guys thought it came across that way, but
You can be arrogant and self-deprecating. It is possible.
I mean, it's possible, yes, but generally you don't put the two together.
I don't know. I know
I don't know, he
quite
didn't
a
feel
few
arrogant to me.
people.
What about the rest of his life? What do you guys think about that? Like how he became an optometrist, he
Okay,
crashed the plane, he married the very large woman.
I felt so bad for that woman and how she died. I hated that.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh yeah, the way she died was sad.
It was sad. It was.
Ugh.
That was probably the
Because
saddest
she was
part
trying
for
her
me.
best to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor baby.
And he seemed like not bothered.
So it goes.
I think so. It goes exactly. So I think that the thing is, at that point, he didn't really have the same sort of emotional capacity, or he just like was. If he was like full on Tralfamadorian mindset,
I just
it
don't
wouldn't
think
matter to him, you know.
I don't think he loved her either.
Well, I don't think he did either. But
I
I don't
don't
think.
think
I
he
don't
ever
think he
did,
did
yeah,
either.
No.
Yeah.
Which is sad because she adored him.
Mhm.
Yeah. But he also had a brain injury at the time, so
I mean, fair. I don't.
it's like he was kind of
It is a
messed
little
up.
difficult to tell.
What was what?
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just agreeing with you there. It's hard to tell what was what because
It's hard to tell what was what, and it's hard to tell. Like they never really discuss at all how he feels about his wife in the entire book,
He says that he saw his
or
whole
his
marriage.
motivations or whatever.
He said he saw his whole marriage and he didn't mind being with her because it seemed like it was okay for the
it
most
was
part.
it was decent or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which like
I mean, but
fine,
also,
guess,
he
but
didn't get a choice in it, right? It's just the way his life was.
He says that,
I think that's the
but I think that's just
stupidest-
because he time traveled and thought that he
stupidest
couldn't change
thing.
anything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they talked about that too.
Well,
like,
I mean, if you time
the alien
travel, yeah.
said it's funny that you think that all of these places we've looked at that has life and
It's like
Earth
we're,
is the
we're
only
ones
one
that, are
that
gonna do
thinks
it.
that there's free will, and it's kind of like, I mean, I don't know.
I think it's stupid.
I thought it was kind of funny that when they said that they blew up the universe,
Yeah,
maybe they did.
yeah,
Maybe they just went out of existence, so their universe died, and
Yeah.
everything else is still. I'm like, how could you be sure about that?
yeah.
Because you're a stop.
But it hadn't yet.
Well,
I
see,
don't
this-
know.
But they
So,
knew it
yeah,
would. Yeah.
No, yeah. This is probably like thousands of years in the future,
Yeah,
So
or
it's-
down their timeline, but it's just been propagated back. One would assume, unless they're immortal. I don't know if they're immortal or not. They didn't really say.
I don't think so because
I mean, they
talk
do
about-
die.
Yeah, I was gonna say
but-
they talk about people dying. Or
they were just having a bad point at that moment in time.
Yeah. Why didn't they just
yeah, so it's
lock
like,
that
you know,
person
whatever.
up? No button.
It's an
pushing
interesting-
For you.
just pull off their cut off their fingers.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
What? I missed that part.
I said, why didn't they just lock that alien person up that pushed the button or
Oh,
whatever?
yeah.
Like, or and Ariel said, cut off his fingers, and I said, right? I'm saying, yeah. I don't know. I guess I just don't. I don't know.
I don't see why you wouldn't have wanted to experiment with something at that point.
Yeah.
It's like it's gonna end anyway, so what if we do
Yeah,
this? What
we're gonna
happens?
put you onto something else. You're gonna learn about something else, not
You are not allowed to push buttons.
not what helps you into the world or universe or whatever. Like I don't know.
They don't really have they can't make decisions.
I know, but it's just for me. It's like one of those weird. I don't know why we would look at the future and be like, "Hey, we're not doing anything to fix that." I don't know.
I don't know. Purely alien mindset.
Yeah, specifically, and I just think that's so funny.
It's a difficult thing because that means that there's like no. I mean, obviously, the thing here is that there is no free will.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's the obvious takeaway from that.
Yeah.
And
I
I just can't really think of it because if you
yeah. No,
if you know that there's no free will,
What's the
Right.
point?
so any decision you could make, you've already made
Yeah.
based on that information, and anything that like it all propagates together. So
That
just
would
all set
make
in
me
stone.
choose the worst decision every time.
Well, they wouldn't even be decisions because
No,
you've already
because-
made
No,
it.
I know,
yeah,
I know. But
already
guess what?
determined.
It would always be the worst one.
It's sort of like, okay, do you guys remember that movie? Mallory, I'm not sure if you've seen it, but I know that Carla and Ariel did. The one where they went back in time and the guy got his ear cut off and he's like, oh my God,
Yes.
the statue was me?
Yes.
What is that movie?
That sounds
Timeline.
called-
It's called
Oh,
Timeline.
yes. Oh, I love that. I love that.
I don't remember this.
It's like that. That's
Yeah.
basically how.
That has Paul Walker and Gerard Butler in it, doesn't it?
I can't remember.
Yes.
I think.
I don't even
I think
remember
that's
this
the one I'm
movie.
thinking of.
I don't remember this
They
movie
had
at all.
uncovered this like medieval
Time machine.
fortress type thing, and wasn't there some kind of experiments going on too, where
Yeah.
you can only jump back and forth so many times before it really messed you up?
And they
Was
got
this the same movie?
stuck or something.
I believe that was the same movie because
Okay.
they sent it back in time. They pointed the camera up, and that's how they figured out what time it was.
Yeah.
Like
I
what year it was because they could see the stars and whatnot. Yeah, I think that's the same movie. It's actually got a bunch of like fairly big name people
Yeah.
in it. Now that I'm looking
it
at
does
it,
have Paul Walker. It does
Gerard Butler, Paul Walker.
have. Okay, all right, yes, yeah.
And-
I loved that
Yeah.
movie.
it's the one where the guy, when they unearthed like the sarcophagus thing or tomb thing, where they had the man and the woman
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah,
laid together, and
that's what's
he was
making
missing
me
an ear.
think
Yeah,
of it.
The guy was, and he was totally fascinated with the statue of this woman. You know, he just thought she was beautiful. And then going back in time, it turns
Yeah.
out to be him, and well, he married her.
The funny thing was that he got his ear cut off, and then he was so happy about it because he realized that he was the
He was the
statue.
guy.
it's me.
Which meant that
Ariel.
he got with that chick,
Yeah.
right? The one who he liked, presumably. I can't remember very well. It's been very many years since I've seen this movie. It came out
Yeah.
in 03 or whatever.
I've been wanting to watch that
it-
again. I think now I'm gonna have to.
FYI, 13% on Rotten Tomatoes.
What? You know what? That
Apparently
tracks.
nobody liked it.
Nobody on Rotten Tomatoes knows anything 90% of the time. I said what I said.
They really
I
don't,
mean,
though.
I'm not going to disagree with you entirely there, but I could see how this is just like a cheesy movie, but I would enjoy it.
I like cheesy
You know?
movies and stupid stuff.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. We like cheesy
Mhm.
bad movies like that. So,
Oh my god, I watched.
I mean,
Meg
we're
the other
exactly
day.
the demographic here. So, it's an issue.
Yeah.
Have you guys
So
seen?
there's a treatment of this timeline.
Have you guys seen the movie Meg about the megalodon?
Yes.
Is that the one with Jason Statham in it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That
Talk
will be
about
did well enough
ridiculous.
for there to be a Meg too. So,
Yeah.
I watched Meg 2 also.
I think
I didn't watch. I didn't get that one, but I was
Oh.
like, oh my
I like
gosh! It's
big
like just
shark
when you think
movies.
you're safe, there's one more. Oh Look, there's one more.
Oh man.
I like shark movies. Zach, do you remember watching
kinda fun.
Deep Blue when we were kids at Mama Henry's?
That's a scary one.
Yeah, not a shark movie though.
There's sharks involved.
There's sharks in it, but I think the main thing there was that there was an underwater civilization that tried to kill us.
Yeah.
Oh my
But
goodness.
you remember was it that one? I know we watched this one together, whatever it is, but there's one where we watched where the cook is a black man and he's in the water and he's like, the black man always dies first.
Oh my god, I don't know if it was that one. I could see that.
Oh my gosh. I watched something. Okay.
Was it
There
called
was
Deep Blue?
it may not be
No,
Deep
no,
Blue.
okay.
I was thinking that one was about sharks, is it not?
What's the
No,
one?
Deep Blue Sea is about sharks.
Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe
I
that's
know
what
which
I'm
one you're
thinking
talking
of.
about, Ariel.
Maybe that's
and
what
I
I'm thinking
can't-
of, Deep Blue
Blue is
Sea.
apparently about penguins.
What's the
Okay,
one-
so Deep Blue Sea.
What's the one where I think actually it's a sci-fi movie and it was like not a very it was a shark movie, but this woman was doing like brain enhancement on sharks. And I'm going to have to I wish I had my phone to look this up cuz it's a really weird movie and they have this massive shark and it like starts
I
taking over
vaguely
the,
remember
the
this.
the
That sounds
condominium
familiar.
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and man, it's terrifying.
There's okay. So what I was going to say with this black man, he's in the second one of whatever this movie is, and he's learned to swim specifically.
Okay, I know what you're talking
Yes!
about. I
What
know
is
what you're
that
talking
It's the
about.
Abyss.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
There
Is
was
there a second one?
no.
Because he's in the second one, and he's like,
Uh,
"I learned how to swim."
Is it Meg? Because the black guy couldn't swim in
No,
that
it's
one.
not.
I've seen
I don't
so
remember.
many shark movies. I don't know.
I know.
I have seen so many.
Okay,
of them,
so
they all
the
blend
Abyss was
together.
not a shark movie, but I know
No.
what you're talking. The one that we watched at Mama's was the Abyss.
That one was
I
the
don't
Abyss.
know
Okay.
if you're conflating that with a different movie about sharks and a black dude who says he's gonna die first.
With the Abyss, they were just in moderately poor condition.
Yeah.
Do you remember that line?
No.
Oh my gosh.
No, it's-
When they
we
finally
watched
got
this when we were like
we were little.
single
Like,
gosh,
digits.
when,
It's an
like
old movie.
Mama was still in the trailer
uh,
when we watched this.
when they finally got contacted with like the surface, they were literally everything was breaking down. It was starting to leak. They were sliding off the edge of it, like we're into an abyss. And when they asked how they were, the guy's like, "Well, we're in moderately poor condition." I thought that's such an understatement. You're about to die.
Apparently, there is a sci-fi movie called Sharktopus.
Oh yeah,
I really want to watch that one. That's funny.
it's like on par
There's-
with Sharknado and stuff.
Yeah.
I get the one that like the megalodon versus the giant octopus,
Yeah.
where they like eating.
Yeah, there were
But
so many of
it's-
those versus movies.
Yeah, I think they're
back
so
in the
funny.
day.
Funny.
I love shark movies.
I think the one you're talking about, Ariel, is Deep Blue Sea with the giant shark because it's got Samuel L. Jackson in it. That would make sense.
Okay.
Trailer
So
Park
we
Shark.
got two movies here. We got Deep Blue Sea, which is the one that you're probably talking about partially, but we didn't see that at Mama's. The
No.
one we saw at Mama's was the
The
Abyss,
Abyss.
and that one was
Okay, you know what I
a different sort of movie,
specifically
but it was so
remember
fun.
about watching that movie though at Mama's is
What?
that some woman almost drowned and they had to rip open her shirt for some reason to give her CPR. And Hannah made so many comments about that
Oh my
and made
God.
fun of that poor woman.
Oh my goodness.
I remember that too. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like my boobs are flat. That's what she kept saying.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't because of CPR. It was so they could shock her.
Is that
That's
what it was?
what it was.
Okay, I was gonna say I remember them
Yes, they were
ripping
doing
her
CPR
shirt.
on her, but then they had to
Okay.
rip open the
Okay.
shirt to connect the
the
things.
paddles
It's
and stuff,
obviously
yeah.
just to get,
the titty
some
shot.
boobs in the movie, but still.
They had to have the titty shot. It
I mean, it makes sense.
wasn't
if you
even a
think about
good
it.
one though.
No. It's usually how it
You got to
goes.
get those ratings up somehow.
Evidently.
Also, just FYI, the CG in that movie for being 89, pretty good.
It was. It really was.
Oh, that we got completely off track
Yeah,
on
we
this.
did. We
I was
really
trying to
did.
talk about timeline movies. Okay, so I was gonna say something like Oof. There was another piece of media aside from the timeline, which was apparently terrible. Everybody should go out and watch it, though, because I thought it was fun.
I like it.
And I think the rest of us thought it was fun. But other books or things about how time works that were like how it is in this. And there was one in particular I was thinking of that I figured was, if not based on this idea, I mean, it's like not a hard idea to think of, but there was something like this, and it was fairly new. I can't remember. The timeline's the only one that's coming to my mind now.
How did you feel about the way?
And I thought it was interesting.
How did you feel about the way they jumped back and forth through time? Because I know you have issues with the time. I wondered how you. There you go. This is one instance where it was 100% consistent within the rules of the time traveling.
It did seem
And
to
I
make like a
enjoyed
fair
that.
amount of
It's
sense.
good stuff.
Like it wasn't super in depth, but it also was still. It still did make sense. Because I mean, he lived all these different times, like multiple times. Because he said every single time he dies on that day.
There was one inconsistency.
Uh-oh, what was it?
Or it's not even an inconsistency, but it's something like a little off. Is so his consciousness can only move through timelines, right? But it is assumed that he visits all of these times at some point, and it sort of can be noticed because what's her
that
name?
One actress lady.
No.
Yeah, she says that she knew when he was time traveling.
What was her name then? Sorry, I missed it then.
Hannah something.
The actress that they
Yeah.
made him
Abducted.
mate with.
Okay, and if he was only there 6 months, how was she breastfeeding the baby?
Remember, they were messing with time.
Okay, but
Trafalgarians.
They kept speeding it up or slowing
They
it down.
said they were messing with the clocks, not necessarily
Yeah.
time. Yeah, it was a little confusing. I do agree.
I
that
just
was
assumed
another
that
thing.
was
like
time.
He was only there for. Well, he said months. I thought it was 6 months,
I
and
did
then
too.
I thought
apparently there was the baby.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I wonder if time is also different there.
Well, they said it was because they could
Yeah.
spend like years there and on like a quarter
a
second.
millisecond here.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
why was there
Interesting.
so much sex references in this book?
Because it was written by a guy.
Okay, there you go, Ariel. Here's one thing. He clearly wasn't making fun of Billy because he had a tremendous wang, and you never knew who's going to get one. My favorite quotes
That
in the
was a
book.
really funny line.
I thought it was funny. There was a lot of really good quotes actually in this book, and I think I bookmarked some.
I'm pretty sure last night whenever I was like listening in bed and was falling asleep, there was one that I thought I was like, I'm gonna bookmark that, and then I didn't.
Anyway, one of the quotes I was looking at was, well, here we are, Mr. Pilgrim, trapped in the amber of this moment. There is no why.
Yeah.
I thought that one was fun. Because that was like something sort of like a reason in the book, or a thing in the book that they discussed, was that there was just no why about anything. It just is. So it goes.
I'm sure that's how it feels like as a soldier too. It's like, because you don't have any choices, you don't have any say, you just do what you're told and you don't know why.
Yeah. This is Ariel's actual feelings about the book. There is no why. So Ariel, you came away with the point of the book. There is no why.
That's stupid, and I don't like it. It also states exactly why I could never be in the armed forces. Because I would question, and I would not listen, and I would get stuck in whatever punishment it is they give people nowadays
put you
all
in the
the time.
gulag.
all the time. And you know what? That would just fuel my rage. And I'd be even worse when I got out.
Oh, here's
I
another
hold
good
grudges.
one.
I have a grudge from when I was 13.
I'm a Tralfamadorian, seeing all time as you might see a stretch of the Rocky Mountains. All time is all time. It does not change. It does not lend itself to warnings or explanations. It simply is.
Also dumb.
Man, I love that quote. I think it's great. As somebody who's not convinced that free will is a real thing, I like it.
Okay, we are all talking about the same movie. Deep Blue Sea is the one with the shark brains.
Oh, okay, so that's good.
The
There you
Alzheimer's
go. That one's got a
treatment.
69% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's another good one.
That's fantastic that we were all thinking of the same
I thought it was a sci-fi movie, but it's not. So I was like looking for sci-fi movies and nothing would come up. So I just took sci-fi off and it brought it up. I was like, oh, dang.
Yeah, it says sci-fi horror film on the Wikipedia page, but I get what you're saying.
I love that.
Yeah, Deep Blue Sea.
That's a good one, guys. Go watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
No,
even
I've
remember
actually
this
watched
movie.
that
I
one a
do
couple
remember
times.
vaguely this thing about the sharks being altered and they become intelligent sharks.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, there was 3 of them, wasn't there?
I think so, yeah.
I
I-
bet you
I
it's not
forgot
Samuel
Samuel
Jackson
L.
who says that
Jackson
line. I
was
bet
in
you it's
that
LL
one.
Cool J. He's in it.
I don't know who that is.
What movie?
Deep Blue Sea.
It was a different actor, not Samuel L. Jackson. It was...
It says Samuel L. Jackson's in it.
They were both in it.
Oh,
Why don't I remember?
He was the
LL
chef.
Cool J
It was
in
the
it?
chef that said it. So
Yeah,
And
I'm
he has
pretty
a
sure he
parrot.
played the chef. Let me double check.
he has a
Want him
parrot,
to be-
right?
Dang. All right. I don't remember him in it. I mean, it's been a long time since I've seen this, but I remember her in it. Yeah.
He was
Him, yeah.
Sherman Preacher Dudley.
Yeah.
And that is... Well, he looks like he is, yes, the chef. 100%.
Does he have a
Yeah, like
parrot?
I'm seeing a thing here with him and the shark, and he's
Does he
like
have the parrot?
freaking out because it's in his kitchen.
Yeah. Yeah. See? I know.
I'm gonna have to watch this
I
You
movie
know, the
again.
second one
I
apparently
have-
was not great because
There's also a third one. I
Hey.
didn't know
Huge
that.
blank spaces in my
Yeah, there's a
life
third
of my
one, too.
memory, but I remember this movie.
Oh my
Oh
god,
my
yeah. There's
gosh, that's
also
funny.
Frank Welker does the parrot sounds. the
Aha!
parrot sounds.
See? I knew there was a parrot too.
That's so funny.
Because he was very worried about it getting eaten.
Same though.
Because that was his baby.
Oh man. Okay. So now maybe we're gonna have to just talk about sharks or something.
Maybe that should be our curiosity. Shark facts.
these sharks, shark facts. There you go.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love sharks.
Oh my god, there's some great quotes in these books. I mean, these movies. I just found a Reddit thread about there's a Deep Blue Sea 2 and 3, and they've got some quotes on here that I can't say because of reasons, but they're funny. Yeah, I'm just gonna put one in the chat. You guys can read it,
Uh-oh.
and then you can giggle, and nobody will know.
Did you put it
Listeners,
in there yet?
sorry.
Yeah.
He did put it in there? I don't think I can see it.
Oh my gosh.
That's fantastic.
That is a good one. That's a very good one. All right. Do we have any final
And just to
thoughts?
show,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
one more thought about this, and we can finish up. Apparently, in Deep Blue Sea, I think 2 or 3, I can't remember. The main character is some 24-year-old who happens to be the foremost expert in shark conversation at 24.
Oh.
Haha. She's literally cast as heavy breast chick in the credits.
Get out.
That is the level of movie and professionalism we have for
Oh
Deep
my
Blue Sea 2
God.
and 3.
Love that for us. Love that for us. Yeah.
Wow.
Yikes.
Yes,
Oh,
I heard
also,
that
she
too.
only got her wetsuit half zipped before an explosion happened at one point.
Oh,
That's...
darn.
No one's surprised.
No, not really.
No. Disappointed, but not surprised.
And it stays that way for the rest of the movie.
Of course, because heaven forbid we finish zipping it up.
Oh, God.
Oh, goodness. All right.
Anyway, I thought it was a fun book. You guys should read it, but read it, don't listen to it, apparently.
I think
And
reading
don't
would be
listen
better.
to Kurt Vonnegut at the end, because it'll apparently ruin the book for you.
Yeah, I didn't totally hate it. I just don't think I was in a very good frame of mind anyway to begin with. So I think that just didn't.
I didn't hate it. It's not pure Nisi. But I didn't like it either. I think it's dumb. Piranesi's up there with The Good Earth, okay? Like, I hate those books.
Piranesi's a
It's
good
really dumb.
book. I know the ending is not what you want,
The whole
and it
book
wasn't
is
what I
not
wanted
what I
either.
want.
but the rest of the book's
whole
good.
book is not what I want. It is pointless.
Oh my goodness. It's
It wasn't pointless. He got out of the place. Hey everybody, go back and listen to our Piranesi episode. It was way back in the day.
I don't even remember actually. Was it just a book chat?
It was just a book chat.
Okay.
Books we hated.
Okay. Where some are a waste of time.
Yep.
Where some books are a waste of time. Yeah. All right. Well, any other
Is that what it
final-
was? Where some books were erased?
I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember the episode number though. I've just been like going through them recently.
Oh man, it's a very early one.
Yeah.
I hated that one.
I think
What's
it's
the other? Oh,
think it's
The
like
Night of the Mannequin.
5 or 6 maybe?
Oh yeah,
That was stupid.
it's episode 5.
This one, I think it's dumb.
Maybe like 7 or 8. I don't know.
Flatland.
It's 5.
5? Okay.
Flatland's dumb.
I do need to actually like finish reading that. Like I'd like to
Annihilation was
actually
odd.
read it with good
I don't know that I like
pictures.
The
that.
short book too. I mean, a short
Now that I think
episode
back on
too. It's
that, I don't
episode
remember
33
what my
minutes.
original
Which
thoughts
one?
for Annihilation were.
Mm.
But thinking back on it now, I'm not sure that I like that book.
You weren't like totally thrilled with it.
Okay, then.
It's pretty
Tracks.
creepy.
You didn't not like
I
it,
didn't
but
think it was really creepy, but
I did.
Which book?
Annihilation.
Annihilation.
By
Yeah.
Jeff something or other.
Vandermeer.
Yeah.
I'd like to have him on. That'd be good. You reach out to Jeff Vandermeer. Anyway,
Reach
we
out
can
to
end.
Susanna
I
Clark.
enjoyed this book. Some of us enjoyed this book.
I didn't think it was bad. It's just not one
Don't
of
even.
my
I didn't think.
favorites.
She told me yesterday she thought
I
it was
hated
the
it.
ramblings of a crazy man, and she hated this book, and she
I
didn't think
did.
she was going to finish it.
But then I got it
The
done.
Don't let
truth
her
comes
lie
out.
to you.
I did say that, and I did think it was ridiculous. And then I speeded it up to
She
like
did.
twice the speed and got through it, and it was okay.
I will say, even at 2 times speed, it wasn't too fast,
No,
which I
because
was very.
He
Yeah.
talked
I
like-
listened to the whole thing at
You
once.
did talk
Yes.
very slowly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I did,
so.
which is surprising for me because I mean, mostly what I like the fastest I listen to is like 1.5. Usually, I'm at 1.4 or 1.45.
175 is my default.
I mean, I was like,
There
I
was
hate this
another book
when
that I
when
listened to that
speeded
was
it
like
up.
that. Yeah,
I
I
was like,
had
I
it.
can't
I
do
think
it,
sped
but
up to
it was
2, and
okay.
it was like that. Well, yeah. All right. So, suggested, yes, all but one. Just like, go in knowing it's not going to be probably as in depth as you're expecting for like a war book, because it really wasn't. It did
Nope.
gloss over a lot, and I think
Mhm.
that was kind of the point anyway. I don't know really, but so
I think it was a science fiction novel with a bit of war sprinkled in.
Well, that's kind of.
yeah,
I could see that.
yeah,
And if I went
Yeah.
into it thinking
knowing that,
this is a science fiction novel
yeah,
with very, very little war in it, I probably would have liked it more.
that makes That's
Not
very
an-
fair.
I could see that.
Not
very
an
fair.
anti-war book that is
Yeah.
like, oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have ever said that.
That's what the internet says.
Well, most classics
Give it like
are
a
like
couple
that.
years and then just reread it with that mindset
Oh,
and
I'll
see what's like there.
Where'd you go?
Report back.
It's all right. We didn't want to hear this.
Episode
No, he's fine.
87. Episode 187.
No, this is 86.
86, whatever. Yeah, this will be
You
86.
just sassed me. Okay, so all right. Well, our next episodes coming up, we have a new book chat. We will then have a new curiosities from Ariel and myself, and as of today's discussion, we might be doing sharks. So yay for us. We're then going to have a new guest author on, Timothy Huguenin. And we have a couple of his books to talk about, or just one, or
I think
Well,
we're just going to read one, but we might
have
talk about
3.
more.
okay, all right. So yeah, we have 3 of his books, but we're going to be talking about one. Okay, We're then going to be doing my Christmas deep dive. You're all welcome. It is another rom-com. Yay! And it's called How the Grump Saved Christmas by Claire Kingsley. And we do have it in the library.
Because they told me in plenty of time, so I ordered it.
Yes.
Is it a big book?
No, it's also free in Kindle Unlimited. So
Sweet. We love that.
yeah. And yeah, so that's it. You're welcome. Yay, Christmas rom-coms.
I mean, I love Christmas.
Yeah.
That's its only saving grace.
Our last one wasn't too bad. It was like,
it
what,
was
80
cute.
pages?
Yeah.
It's longer than that, but it's not bad. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. It's time for us to sign off, but before we go, only the best libraries have librarians who don't shush you.
So it goes.
Except for Carla telling me I'm too volatile.
It was true.
Oh, no.
I'm stopping this video.